Welcome to Goddess Behavior, the podcast where ancient myths meets modern main character energy.
We're your hosts, Steph and Laura.
No textbooks, just great stories, hot takes, and some unhinged ancient audacity.
So pour a drink, fix your crown, and step into your mythic era.
This is Goddess Behavior.
All right.
We're back. Okay, so today we're going to talk about astrology and how it connects to mythology. Our ologies are meshing
Yay.
together today. I think as we were going through like episode ideas, I was like, oh, we have to talk about this. I know it's connected. So
Yeah.
it was just, how do we fit it in? And it naturally fell into place, kind of.
So I mean, I think we've been moving across, land, mountains.
Yeah, so we have to get to the water.
So now we're diving into the water.
Exactly.
With our water signs. Yeah. So specifically the mythology behind Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces.
Yep. So in order not to have this episode be like 8 hours long, we had to break it up. So that's why we're just focusing on them today. Yeah. So before astrology became personality quizzes and dating app bios, the Zodiac was mythology. Constellations weren't created to describe who you are.
Yeah.
They were stories ancient people used to make sense of a world that felt vast, dangerous, and mysterious, like we've talked about quite a lot.
Yeah, same concept, or very similar to understanding the land and the mountains and the forests.
For thousands of years, humans looked up to the sky as an archive, like we talked about last week. The stars helped us navigate oceans, track seasons, preserve religious beliefs, and pass stories from one generation to the next. Astronomy and mythology weren't separate things. They were deeply intertwined, and nowhere else is that connection clearer than water signs.
Yeah, I think the water for as long as, even now, the water is vastly misunderstood.
And unknown. And
there's still multiple pieces or layers, I guess, if you will, to the water that we don't know.
Yeah, we haven't even discovered.
Where humans can't see.
It's crazy. Yeah, to me, that's like so wild. So it's definitely like uncharted territory for us.
Yeah. So it's easy to imagine how intimidating the water must have been for
for ancient people. Yeah. It's intimidating for me, to be honest. That's all I'm going to say after my trip to the Keys.
Fishing retreat.
My fishing retreat. You guys, I get seasick. It wasn't great. So
it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
It's okay. I do too, actually. So I already know that wouldn't have gone well for me.
I was land bound for most of the trip.
There you go.
I was looking at it. It's very pretty, but I can't do it.
So modern astrology often describes Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces as emotional, intuitive, or sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
But their original myths tell a much bigger story. Water has always represented transformation. The ocean was one of the most feared forces in ancient world. Life-giving, also a little destructive, beautiful, little monstrous, familiar, but also really unknowable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so again and again, water mythology asks the same questions. What happens when we cross a threshold? What survives loss? What must be sacrificed to become something new? Because water sign stories aren't really about emotions. They're about transformation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's such a common theme with them that is hard to ignore once you dive deeper into it, because becomes very surface level, if you will, where they are those things, but it's not the only thing that they're representing here.
Right. I think that's something I really enjoyed learning more about when we were digging into these, specifically Scorpio for me, but how cyclical in nature these signs are.
Reflecting the connection to water and to the moon and cycle. It's definitely.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting how all of these pieces that we will get into connect so much to what each of the signs actually represent themselves.
Yeah.
So before we get into each sign, we're going to do a quick astrology basics, astrology 101, if you will.
We know that there's more to this. Again, doesn't need to be an 8-hour episode though. So
right.
quick.
We're going to do a quick primer for anybody who's heard something like a cardinal water sign and is like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and doesn't know what you're talking about. So we're going to explain. So first off, the zodiac is divided into 12 signs: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra. Making sure I'm doing it in order. People get mad.
Yep.
Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And they're grouped up in mainly three different ways. So the first is by element. So fire, earth, water, air. So the fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And today's water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Ancient cultures believed that these elements represented different ways of experiencing the world. So water is associated with intuition, emotion, imagination, spirituality, and the unseen. The second grouping is called modality, which describes how a sign approaches life. There are 3 different modalities: cardinal signs, which initiate and begin things; fixed signs, which stabilize and maintain; and mutable signs that adapt and transform. So if we're going to go based off of the signs we're doing today, Cancer is cardinal water, so it starts an emotional journey. Scorpio is fixed water, so it dives deep and it holds on, which they do. Pisces is mutable water, so it dissolves boundaries and transforms. And then you'll also hear people mention ruling planets. In astrology, each sign is connected to a celestial body, and that also symbolizes certain themes.
Right. Like think Mercury.
Right.
Which we're both ruled by Mercury.
We are.
So just that's the easy example.
Yeah. And Mercury is like communication and talking and, getting information out there. Lots of information. Here we are.
Yep.
So Cancer is ruled by the moon, which governs cycles, instincts, and emotional memory. Scorpio is ruled by Mars traditionally and Pluto in modern astrology, connecting it to power, conflict, and transformation. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter traditionally and Neptune in modern astrology, linking it to spirituality, imagination, and dreams.
Now, one important thing to remember, astrology is only one layer to this story.
Right.
So today's episode isn't really about whether Scorpios are mysterious or whether Pisces cry a lot. Poor little Pisces.
I know.
We're interested in something older, right? Again, our lens is mythology.
Yes.
So we're talking about all of these things because before these signs become personality archetypes, they were constellations. Before they were constellations, they were myths. And before they were myths, they were humanity's attempt to explain the forces of nature, survival, transformation, and the mysteries hidden just beyond the edge of the known world. And that's where we're starting today.
Yeah.
So just as like a preface here, a little piece of historical context is that these astrological signs were mapped out by the Mesopotamians.
Right.
So very, very long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they did so in 30-degree angles.
Yes.
And then I think at the time, it's really priests, but astronomers mapped out the stars within these angles, and that became the representation of your sign.
Right.
Or that was assigned to your sign.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the vision that you see of like the Scorpio is the scorpion and the Pisces with the 2 fish.
Yeah.
Those are from their stars that are on their chart.
Yeah.
That was mapped out by the original Mesopotamian map.
Yeah. So it's so much older than even I've realized. And the reason why we wanted to talk about this is because they are connected to these older stories. And I think a lot of people don't even know that until they start really diving into it. And most people know very basic level.
Yeah, but where they come from matters. So
yeah, definitely.
It's cool for us, for our lens anyway.
Yeah, definitely. So shall we get into our first sign?
Yes, our Cancer friends.
Yes.
I'm a Cancer moon.
Yeah. Cancer's a fun one because of their symbology, as we'll get into it. So Cancer season falls between June 21st and July 22nd. Cancer, like I said before, is a cardinal water sign. So that means it initiates and begins things in the realms of emotions, relationships, and connection. So as the first water sign, Cancer represents this emotional journey beginning.
Yeah.
It's ruled by the moon. So your Cancer moon is in its very happy place.
Yeah.
Cancer is traditionally associated with nurturing, intuition, protectiveness, home, family, and emotional memory. But it also gets misunderstood as being just this sensitive sign.
Yeah.
Because if you look at its symbol, the mythology tells a very different story. Cancer is represented by the crab. Not sure why it's called Cancer. Maybe that's something to do with Latin.
I think crustaceous. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A crustacean.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I figured you would know.
Yeah.
Laura's like my walking encyclopedia, I swear.
I blame it on my dad, but
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm happy about it.
Is your dad like the guy from My Big Fat Greek Wedding where
Yeah.
he just gets from the Greek word?
Yeah.
Love it.
Family trivia.
Oh, yeah. Well, we do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's represented by the crab, a creature that survives through protection. It carries its shelter everywhere it goes, a hard shell on the outside, vulnerability on the inside. The archetype isn't weakness, but resilience.
Yeah.
Um,
Because when their home gets too crowded, they go find
Or when
a
it
new one.
comes get pecked out, like or getting
Yeah.
pecked at, it's like, nope, I'm going
Yeah.
inside. Yeah, so Cancer understands that vulnerability requires this protection, boundaries, if you will. Caring for people requires those boundaries, and that creating safety is an act of strength.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is my moon sign, and
You're like,
I'm like, yep. No, I think what I've always remembered, like in reading about myself and
Mhm.
trying to learn more about
Yeah.
myself in this way, is that Cancer being associated with the moon, first
Yes.
of all, it gives very like maternal energy
Mhm.
that, as we talked about last week,
Yeah.
can be misconstrued, right? But it's just because it's cyclical in nature.
Yeah. Well, so what's interesting about it too is like it has these connections to these sensitive areas of life, but it also is strong,
Yeah.
which is a very good reflection, I think, of this moon energy, right? Like moon isn't weak because it has all of these softer energy related to it. It's strong in a quieter way, right?
Yeah, because it's very much required for our day-to-day existence.
Yes, exactly.
So I mean,
Yeah, like a house
that's
doesn't
power.
operate without that system,
Yeah.
right? So the cycles have to match up.
Right.
That cardinal nature reinforces this idea of like this strength that comes, right?
Yeah.
While
Initiating.
while
Yeah.
cardinal signs are known for this initiating action, Cancer doesn't lead through force or conquest like another, like a fire cardinal sign would, right? Which we'll get into another episode. It leads by building connections, creating belonging, protecting what matters, and preserving the people and the tradition that it values.
Oh, which you could totally see as being associated with a mom.
Maternal. Yeah. Yeah, like I'm trying not to make it feminine because it's not. It's
not,
about
yeah.
the
A Cancer man would feel the same way. Yeah.
right? So it's just what you consider to be important, and I think that often gets associated with maternal, but it's nurturing,
right? But you
and-
could see how a Cancer man, as like a dad, would probably be really great.
Yeah, I'm a Capricorn moon, and that's technically the masculine end of the spectrum, so we're opposites. And it's in that we can also get into that, but it's an interesting. I have the opposite of you in the sense of like you're in your home spot and I'm confused. So, for lack of a way to put it, but we'll get into that when we get to Capricorn. It's really nice to see the moon in its home place, right?
Yeah.
So Cancer also gets connected to cycles, tides, motherhood, memory, grief, and change. So the ancient people watched the moon govern the ocean, waxing and waning through predictable phases and mark the passage of time itself.
Yeah, the moon was an important tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because it's like this bigger celestial body, like the sun and the moon for that matter, like we talked about last week. It's different than the planets. They're a little bit further away, like they're closer to home.
The moon can feel more like relational or like
right.
understandable
Closer to
because
connect
it's closer to you.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it behaves in a pattern. So again, like we were saying last week, it's something that could be tracked or noted.
Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
even if they didn't know the science behind it yet, they were noticing its cycle. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it also becomes like associated with these emotional ebbs and flows of life, like attachment and separation and home and homesickness, or, birth and loss. So it's like these different ends of spectrums,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which could be hard. I mean, I could see why
They're delicate,
Cancer would
and you have to be
come off as
sensitive.
emotional, but dealing with
It's sensitivity is necessary to protect those things.
It's a defense.
Yeah. So if the moon controls the tides, then metaphorically, Cancer controls like the emotional tides that humans have to go through.
Yeah, which would be heavy. That's a lot.
All right, the constellation story. This is where we're like, oh, this is where it gets interesting.
I learned that, and I had kind of known, I just had never like done a deep dive in this way. This is for a different episode, for a different series of episodes.
Yes.
But our 12 signs are each associated with the labor of Hercules.
Yes. So that's it. If you guys want us to do that, we 100% will. And we're going to do it anyway.
We're going to do it anyway. But
So,
because it's fun for us.
But we didn't want to include it in this episode because it's just too many things. Let's put it that way.
Truly.
But we will be it does come up a little bit depending on which sign we're talking about. So we just wanted to preface by mentioning that.
Yes, it is a whole thing that we're excited about.
Yes. So Cancer enters the sky through a story of Hercules and the Hydra, which is a pretty famous Greek myth, and it's one that's mentioned in the movie.
It's in the movie, it's in the Disney movie.
Yes. So while he's fighting the many-headed monster, Hera sends a giant crab to interfere. The crab pinches Hercules' foot, trying to help the Hydra, which is interesting. Doesn't go well. Hercules crushes it almost immediately. And that's the end of this crab's role in this story. That's it.
That's simple.
Just trying to distract Hercules, essentially.
Yeah.
But it's not really the end, because Hera places the crab among the stars and creates the constellation of Cancer. And what's fascinating is that most of these constellation myths kind of reward heroes, and Cancer gets rewarded for his loyalty. The crab doesn't win. It doesn't save the day. It doesn't accomplish a mission. It just shows up and does its job.
It's essentially sacrificed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a sky full of hunters, monsters, kings, and demigods, it's one of the few constellations that's remembered not for its power, but its devotion.
Yeah. To Hera, of all people.
Yeah, interesting.
Well,
that's a choice. Actually, kind of, she's the maternal figure of Greek mythology, so.
I mean, fine.
Yeah, we don't like
Hera
a choice, so much.
Okay.
So, as we've talked about before, it's pretty Cancer-coded.
Yeah, I mean, was willing to do what it had to do for the person that it valued.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Even though it was Hera.
We don't love her. So if you haven't figured that out already.
Yeah. I'm fine with Hercules. Hera's just always trying to off him, so.
True. Yeah, she's flawed for sure. Hera's morally dark gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to like her, and then she does something and you're like, ugh.
Well, but why?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a crab up in the sky that gets to be, like, to the Greeks, the symbol of loyalty.
Yeah.
From then on.
And it wasn't weak or passive. It was like following through with like this purpose, right?
Yeah.
Modern astrology looked up at that same crab and saw a sign associated with emotional attachment and protection. Different interpretation, same archetype.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this theme actually does extend beyond the story. Like across cultures, crabs and other shell creatures are associated with this protection.
Yeah.
They carry their shelter with them. Their soft, vulnerable bodies are hidden beneath the hard exterior. It's easier to see why later astrologers connect them to these themes of emotional boundaries and self-protection and creating a safe home.
I mean, again, I think that as society grows and changes, maybe the crab needs to retreat a little bit more. Like maybe, it changes your needs and desires to maybe huddle in and stay home and keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
Maybe there are periods of time where that's
what
really,
you need to
really
do. Yeah,
necessary.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you add in where crabs live, it adds a whole nother layer. Crabs exist at the shoreline where the land and the sea meet, another liminal space. And in mythology, those in-between places matter. water, folklore and mythology are full of these liminal spaces, as we've talked about many times, right?
Yep.
The shoreline is one of them. They're places where transformation happens, where humans encounter gods, spirits, monsters, and versions of themselves they weren't expecting. The shoreline is neither fully land or fully ocean, and it's constantly changing with the tides.
Again, these ancient people would have watched their shoreline appear and disappear every day, making it a powerful symbol of transition, uncertainty, and again, a cyclical change.
Yeah, which is very Cancarian. Because Cancer mythology is often connected to these threshold experiences like like birth, childhood, becoming a family, leaving home, returning home, grief, ancestry, and memory. So
emotional.
It's an emotional spaces that change us, right? And even if they're not visible from the outside.
Right. Yeah, those are all big periods of transition where you typically don't come out the same, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So because Cancer is ruled by the moon, a lot of these moon-related deities that we see in mythology kind of represent a lot of these traits that the moon would represent. So again, like intuition, hidden knowledge, fertility, motherhood, emotional rhythm, life and death and rebirth. Whether you're looking at Selene and Artemis in Greece, Mani in the Norse tradition, or countless other lunar deities across the world, the moon often represents forces that are powerfully precise because they aren't loud, like they're more
quiet.
The moon doesn't dominate the sky the way the sun does. It reflects and pulls, it influences, and Cancer carries a lot of that same energy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes along with that intuition piece of a Cancer.
For sure.
Which is why I think Cancer is often misunderstood in modern astrology. People hear emotional and assume weakness.
Yeah.
And most Cancer symbolism is actually about survival. At its core, Cancer mythology suggests that emotional life isn't separate from survival. It is survival. The people, memories, homes, and connections we protect are often the very things that keep us alive.
Cancer archetypes dominate stories centered around these, like, things like a found family or
life events,
protection, grief, or like emotional stories, right? I would do anything for the people I love. That's the kind of energy that Cancer puts off, right? Yeah. So when I think of a Cancer coded character, so not saying that they are Cancers, but they represent this energy of Cancer.
Like what you see of these characters.
Right.
Yeah.
So Molly Weasley. She would do anything for them.
Yeah, truly. If they drive her crazy, right? But end of the day, she would literally burn the world.
Such a mom.
To help them, yeah.
And then, like, for a male example, Samwise Gamgee, like, I just love that. Like, he just is all about making sure everybody's taken care of and, like, remembering the importance of going back to the Shire, like, all of that.
It's just that it comes off as a maternal, but like again,
it's just not nurturing.
It just is almost just being considerate.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. Marlin from Finding Nemo, Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. Ted Mosby is a Cancer man. I will die on it
for sure.
Die on that hill. Yeah. Again, modern culture reduces Cancer to like crying all the time, right? But ancient symbolism suggests that it's something more powerful, that emotional labor is what keeps people alive.
I honestly kind of think that that's sort of emotional intuition and like sense of like when to protect yourself and when to reach out to
boundaries.
Help is important.
Definitely. Since we have 12 albums.
We have to give each album a sign. And so for this purpose, our Cancer album we deemed as folklore.
Yeah, I think especially after our Folklore and Evermore episode, it was like
this just felt right.
So
it's very deep and
emotionally, like you see a lot of emotional growth happening, but also understanding of yourself. Like there's a lot of
it's a lot of like
protection
introspection,
too.
And because you get so many sides, like you get all sides of the story, right? So it just feels like
she's protecting everybody in the story. It's not she's not protecting one side or
even James.
Yeah, why we don't know, but for this purposes it is right.
But folklore to me gives really like emotional and sensitive.
Yeah, for sure. Well, other famous Cancers, right?
That we know
are Cancers
because we have their birthday,
right? Well, so we wanted to give fictional like archetypes, right? And then also people who are real life Cancers, a lot of those traits do show up in their personality. So I think even in an interview, you can tell sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So our favorite Cancer is Princess Diana.
Yeah. Easy.
She is the people's princess, after all. I
and
mean, that's what she was known for,
She
is
was
all the
literally
things.
known for her compassion and empathy for others.
Exactly.
And she exhibited that.
Yeah. And America's dad, Tom Hanks. He is, again, warm, dependable, like that family-oriented kind of energy is just who he is, right?
Yeah.
Meryl Streep, we also love her. She's goes really deep into her characters, I think. Selena Gomez, she's very like open about her vulnerability with things and how she deals with
struggles,
Yeah.
how she works through them.
Yep.
Like, I think that as much as there are probably times where she wanted to go and hide,
Yeah.
she walks us through kind of like her struggle.
And I mean, same with like, if you want to bring it back to Taylor, Lana Del Rey, she's very like transparent with her music, with how
what's going
with
on.
emotional things. So some other notable people, Chris Pratt, makes a lot of sense. Sofia Vergara, Kevin Hart, Ariana Grande, and Margot Robbie. Yeah, so I think like this label of like the emotional crybaby is just so, again, surface level.
Yeah.
It's not enough. Like, you're not telling enough of the story here.
Right.
They are, whether it's their ability to care for people or protecting them in that way, like that, it's just so much more than being emotional.
I
themselves.
think the emotions for a Cancer, the emotional side is like a tool.
Mm-hmm.
It like helps them sort of navigate their survival.
Yeah.
They're like, or survival to them.
Yeah.
Where it feels like to better nourish and protect and help the people around them, they have to be in tune with the other person's emotions.
Yeah.
And I think, maybe it comes off as they're always crying or upset.
Yeah. Cancer energy often creates a sense of belonging. The mythology gives us a crab protecting itself in its shell. The astrology gives us a sign associated with home and emotional safety. Different symbols, but the same idea. The Cancer archetype asks, who do you protect? And what are you willing to carry for the people that you love?
Yeah. And again, it's the intuition that allows them to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Most effectively.
Right.
So,
yeah. All right. So Scorpio.
No, we know a little Scorpio.
We do. So my son's a Scorpio. And I think this is a perfect, like, example in my mind of like how it's so misunderstood because it's very quickly given this like kind of darker emo vibe, right? And I just think, again, it's very surface. Like, there's so much more to it, which is very Scorpio, to be honest. They're not surface level people. They're just not.
Yeah.
So Scorpio season falls between October 23rd and November 21st. My son is November 12th. Scorpio is fixed water, so that means it stabilizes, deepens, and sustains the emotional energy of water, which is like a weird thing to think about because water we don't think of like as a stagnant thing really most of the time. You think of rippling of some kind. So fixed water, it seems very contradictory, which it kind of is.
Well, I think it means fixed as in a fixed, like they feel this sense of like responsibility or like duty to stabilize.
Yes. So if Cancer begins the emotional journey, Scorpio takes it beneath the surface. Traditionally, it's ruled by Mars, and in modern astrology by Pluto. Scorpio governs transformation, secrecy, obsession, power, intimacy, survival, hidden truths, and the cycles of death and rebirth. Which, again,
Scorpio,
it's a heavy weight. It's a lot.
Heavy.
Yeah, it takes on a lot of weight.
Yeah,
a lot of burden.
Yeah,
unfortunately. So modern astrology again turns Scorpio into this hot, mysterious, vibe, right? The resident heartbreaker and of the Zodiac with trust issues. So they just get given this like rap of like not being able to be understood. And it's just because you're not willing to do the work, like in my opinion.
Right. I think to get close, they make it hard for you to get close to a Scorpio.
Yes.
Which, if you think about the Scorpio as an animal, or a
Scorpion.
creature.
Yeah.
Scorpion.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Scorpio wasn't originally a symbol of seduction. It was a weapon, a force capable of bringing down even the mightiest hunter.
Yeah.
The scorpion itself is a fascinating symbol. Unlike many creatures, unlike many creatures that rely on its size and strength, scorpions survive through patience, awareness, and precision. It waits, it observes, and it strikes only when necessary.
It's smart.
Yeah.
I think the scorpion, when you relate Scorpio to the scorpion, makes so much sense
Yeah.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So as a fixed sign, Scorpio doesn't move quickly. They are builders, they're preservers and sustainers. And fixed signs hold energy in place. When the energy combines with water, it creates depth, intensity, and emotional endurance. Scorpio doesn't skim the surface of experiences. It investigates them, lives in them, transforms through them. And that is why the themes of death and rebirth often come up with Scorpio.
Yeah. And I mean, I also think it's intellect. It's kind of like sitting back and observing a situation.
Yeah.
Quietly like building your plan or like making turning those observations into like a rationale or like how to approach that person or how to not.
Right. Yeah. And it's also not necessarily like physical death, but these endings and that, so again, this is why it gets associated with like heartbreak, betrayal, grief, healing, that kind of, again, transformational.
It can come off abrupt to other people, but I think Scorpion has already done the research on you.
Yeah.
So if they're breaking up with you or like
if
they're
they've made their choice.
Ending the friendship, it didn't just come from nowhere.
Right.
They have been they kept the receipts, if you will.
Oh,
so they're like,
do they? Yes.
So they like have built this case essentially in their own heads.
Yeah.
And they've just decided that they're done.
Yeah.
And when they're done, they're done.
Correct.
And that's fair.
Yeah. For logical people, we're like, yes.
Yeah.
No, I love the investigatory version of Scorpio. And I think that's a piece that people miss.
Right. Well, that's what
as a Gemini and a Virgo, we love that because we're like, oh yes, more information, give it to us. Like,
tell us what
tell me the secrets. Yeah. So they're maybe not as upfront with the information.
Yeah.
But they are definitely gathering it like we would. So I think that's why I just enjoy that.
Yeah.
Scorpio mythology repeatedly asks the same question: what happens after everything changes? That's why the sign is so closely associated with the underworld, hidden knowledge, and personal transformation. Scorpio understands that some truths are uncomfortable, some endings are necessary, and some versions of ourselves must be left behind in order to emerge anew.
Yeah.
Makes me I'm like thinking of like Black Forest again. Like I'm going back a little bit.
I think it's like it's again with these like kind of liminal, like transformational spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the life cycle of a scorpion.
Totally. Yeah. In that sense, Scorpio doesn't really mean dark. It's not like a darkness. It's transformational.
Yep.
And transformation is rarely comfortable. Like the deep ocean, Scorpio represents the places we fear exploring and often discover that most about ourselves when we do.
Yeah.
So they go where it's hard and uncomfy.
And you're like, oh, like other people are capable of putting off or like shoving deep down.
Yes.
Scorpio wants to go investigate.
Yeah. And I like that.
That's good.
Makes me
because
happy.
it's someone working towards a solution. Like someone that looks like someone working towards a
figuring
goal.
it out. Yeah, exactly.
And those are good things.
Most people don't, like you said, don't get that far.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Scorpio's constellation centers around the myth of Orion, one of the most famous hunters in Greek mythology. And like many Greek myths, there are several versions of what happened because it got passed on and passed on and changed over time.
Yep.
So in some stories, Orion becomes arrogant and boasts that he can hunt and kill every animal on Earth. Gaia, the primordial goddess of the earth, sees this as a threat to the natural world and sends a giant scorpion to stop him.
Ooh.
In other versions, Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, sends the scorpion herself. And in another, Apollo manipulates events because he disapproves of Orion's relationship with Artemis.
That's the one I remember. Yeah.
So the details are different depending on the story, but the ending is the same, that the Scorpion kills the mighty hunter. And that's kind of what's making this myth so compelling. Orion is exactly the kind of ancient figure mythology usually celebrates: strong, skilled, larger than life, and seemingly invincible. But the Scorpion is none of those things. It's smaller, less glamorous, easily underestimated, kind of yucky looking. Like it's not cute,
just a scorpion,
Yeah. But in this case, he wins.
The scorpion sting is poisonous.
Right.
It's deadly.
Yeah. And that the outcome reflects that no one is untouchable.
Yeah.
And that's
even
mythology loves that. Yeah.
Mythic Orion.
Yes, exactly.
Could be stopped by the little scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like an Achilles tendon situation.
Definitely. Yeah. Greek mythology is full of stories about hubris, the dangerous belief that you're above nature, above fate, or above the gods. Again and again, heroes, kings, and warriors learn that power has limits. Orion becomes one more example. The scorpion isn't just a creature, it's a correction, a reminder that arrogance eventually encounters something stronger.
Yeah.
That's something I like about the Greek mythology in general, is the checks and balances.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And it's really interesting how even way back then,
they knew that there had to be
checks in place for their power.
Right.
And it's interesting.
So after Orion's death, both figures are placed among the stars. So both Orion and the Scorpion are constellations, right?
Yes.
Constellation Scorpius rises in the sky as Orion disappears below the horizon. When Orion dominates the winter sky, Scorpius is nowhere to be found. And when Scorpius appears in the summer sky, Orion has already fled. So it's, again, this chase, right, that's going on.
Yeah.
So to ancient observers, it looked as though the hunter and the Scorpion were in this eternal chase through the heavens.
Yeah, I just picture it as like the Scorpion being his continuous reminder of like, he's not untouchable.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, these stories weren't just about the sky. They were telling, like, they were watching the story unfold, like, in real time. Yeah, the
people could see that. Yeah. And honestly, they probably wondered where Orion went.
Yeah,
where this little scorpion, and they're like,
oh, and then he came back around again, so he didn't go.
He's back again.
It's interesting.
Another piece to like help them understand this sort of cyclical nature of the sky.
Yes, exactly. So modern Scorpio is associated with transformation, power, hidden truths, and consequences of what lies beneath the surface.
Unlike many zodiac animals, the scorpion wasn't chosen because people admired it. It was chosen because people feared it. Ancient humans shared their environments with scorpions. They hid in dark places, appeared unexpectedly, and in some regions could deliver a deadly sting. Long before modern medicine, that made them powerful symbols. And across cultures, creatures that inspire fear often become mythological guardians.
Yeah.
I just think Mushu.
Yes.
The little myth dragon.
I love him. Oh, God.
As Mulan's guardian.
So good. Yes. In Egyptian mythology, the goddess Serket was associated with scorpions and protection. She was believed to guard sacred spaces and help guide souls through the afterlife. Her imagery appears on tombs and funeral objects, where she serves as both protector and warning. In Mesopotamian mythology, scorpion men guarded the horizon, where the sun entered and exited the world each day. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, they stand watch over the passage between human world and the realm beyond.
So again, a liminal space. What's interesting is that these myths don't portray scorpions as monsters to be defeated.
Yeah.
Like they don't go out hunting scorpions, right?
No.
They portray them as guardians. So again, the scorpion becomes this keeper of boundaries, a creature that says not everyone gets to pass. And that's a role we see repeatedly in mythology.
Yeah. I mean, dragons guard treasure. Sphinxes guard knowledge. Cerberus guards the underworld. Scorpions guard these thresholds. They stand on the edge of sacred spaces, hidden knowledge, and forbidden territory.
Really cool.
When I lived in the Middle East, there is like a saying about if you are like a prisoner or, you're someone who has gotten into trouble and you might be
Or, like,
killed
in
because
jail or
of it,
something,
right?
yeah.
They say that you'll be put behind the sun. So like you're disappeared, kind of. So it's interesting to think of like them thinking of this desert expanse with like the scorpion guarding the end of the desert, essentially. And that's where you would go, like, because they don't know where the desert
Beyond the
ends.
sun, yeah.
Yeah, beyond
Yeah.
the sun. So it's an interesting way to think of that.
Yeah, that's an image.
So if Cancer stories are about belonging and protection, Scorpio stories are about this transformation. And modern audiences like love a Scorpio story. That's all I'm going to say. Like a revenge narrative or redemption arc or a morally gray character, which we love a morally gay character, or a dark feminine archetype, right? Kind of stories about power, grief, reinvention.
People who are usually misunderstood.
Yeah, exactly. Characters who emerge from a hardship fundamentally changed. So,
like from our fairy tales.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah, it does.
they trained us for this moment.
Yes, exactly. So, the version of the character we meet at the beginning of the story doesn't really survive to the end. Without being changed in some way. And that's why they're compelling stories, right? What I thought of was like Regina from Once Upon a Time and how she kind of starts off as the evil queen consumed by anger and obsession. And over the course of the series, her journey like becomes one of redemption and self-reflection and transformation. Like,
and not without a lot of work. Like,
I
feel like she
it's like
really
the whole
goes
series
through
it takes
Yeah.
for her to get that far, right?
Yeah.
And the question at the center of her story is, can you become more than the worst thing you've ever done? That is so Scorpio.
Yeah.
If I've ever
No,
heard.
it really is. Yeah. I think she's definitely a good one for Scorpio.
Yeah. And Elsa, a little bit different, right? But her story is about hidden power and isolation, fear, and ultimately embracing the version you've been trying to suppress.
And not only was she trying to suppress it, she was made to suppress it.
Right.
Yeah. Like the people around her were like, no.
From fear.
Yeah.
So her, like she has to stop fearing her own power in order to become her true self, right?
Yeah. That's Scorpio.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest, Scorpio story as a whole, Game of Thrones, like there's a lot of transformation with all the characters, to be honest, from beginning to end.
I think we see a lot of the full cycle happen with most of those with most of the Game of Thrones characters. So
but I mean, Daenerys to me is like her arc of story, not her specifically, but the story of her and how she changes.
And just like the things she had to overcome.
Yeah, it's a great example. I mean, her from the beginning to the end is totally different person.
Yeah. I think
back to Taylor.
Our Taylor album for Scorpio has got to be Reputation.
I don't know how it isn't.
I mean,
it might not be a snake, but it's
right. But it's the same concept.
1,000%.
The black snake doesn't attack you unless you attack it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's a very similar concept to a Scorpio.
Yeah, the whole era is built around themes of betrayal, revenge, power reclamation.
Just sort of this reinvention.
Right. After
she came back from a break as something completely different.
Totally
at least
different.
For us.
Yeah.
It's the first time I had heard her curse on an album.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, oh, Taylor Swift.
I mean, the classic, the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now.
God.
But why? Because she's dead.
And we were like, oh.
Yikes.
I'm scared now.
I mean, if you think about her albums before it really is something.
Like my sister and I did our regular ceremonial
listening.
We took out 1989 and we put in Reputation, and we were like,
what is happening? What happened? Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
I know, it's so funny. So it's again this like transformation through adversity, right? Like,
yeah, and I mean, she really was going through it. before reputation.
Yeah.
So.
Again, her old identity died and she came back as something different.
Yeah.
And I think for the better in some ways,
I think, yeah, she is very good at this. Again, she herself is not a Scorpio.
She's a Sagittarius.
Like my son.
Yes. To be honest, she loves a journey. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, and she is very smart. So she has just adapted as she has needed to.
Exactly.
And that's a big piece of this.
Mm-hmm. So famous Scorpios, I think a lot of them follow that same pattern of coming out, following this transformational journey and coming out stronger on the other end.
And better for it.
Yeah. So famous Scorpios, Julia Roberts, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ryan Gosling, Anne Hathaway, who those are to both Bronson's birthday buddies. I didn't realize that. And Whoopi Goldberg, Drake, Katy Perry, Kendall Jenner, Sierra, and Pablo Picasso.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So what I think is interesting about all of them is that they are known for like evolving throughout their career.
And like being adaptable characters. I mean, I think you see that with Drake. Like for any of you who've watched Degrassi, right? You've seen him kind of like his character shift through the whole series. And that series went on
for a
really long time.
Yeah. And like Leonardo DiCaprio is a great example. Like he went from teen heartthrob to like Oscar-winning actor. Like a lot of people in their careers don't get that kind of trajectory.
He got to grow and have that sophistication too.
Yeah, and like now he's like an environmental activist. So like he's like changed a lot since like his beginnings in Hollywood. And Katy Perry has also kind of reinvented herself over the years with multiple different things.
She's
she's
come a long way from I Kissed a Girl.
Yes, exactly. And like California Girls and all those kinds of things. And Anne Hathaway too. I think she's changed a lot since the beginning of her career with Princess Diaries all the way now to being, Les Mis and all of the, she's so multifaceted.
So she also has grown to be a more sophisticated actor, if you want, or actress, if you want to say.
Which is funny because I think she is, did she go to Harvard?
I know she's really smart. Like a lot of people have said how intelligent she is.
She won like the Hasty Pudding. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Which is basically for actors. Like it's like a award for actors who. Is it for Shakespeare?
I want to say it's a more associated with plays.
Like plays. Yeah. So she is like a classically trained actress, but like I think so many of them at the time like started out in like a rom-com or
just anything
style.
They could get into.
Anything they could get, right? So it's so cool to see them like evolve.
I like the full evolution for her there. That's good.
Yeah. And there's the whole thing about her being related to Shakespeare in some way.
Oh yeah, I keep seeing that about her, like being Anne Hathaway, like reincarnated.
Yeah. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, Shakespeare's wife's name was Anne Hathaway, and she used that as her stage name. Like that's not her real name,
right?
Anne Hathaway that we know. And then there were pictures like surfacing about her husband looking just like Shakespeare. So I'll put it here.
The fire. Yeah.
And then it became like she looked like Anne Hathaway, and it became this whole thing about them being reincarnated.
How they're like the reincarnated version of Shakespeare and his wife.
I would love that to be true. That would be really cool. Yeah. I think faces just repeat, to be honest with you.
I'm sure.
And Picasso, he's a great example. His art has changed over and over and over again.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't want to say I'm surprised he's a Scorpio, but I would have in my head had him more as a Pisces just because of how like
it's the
artsy and sort of different or radical, I guess he was, especially when he first started.
Yeah, for sure.
So
but
Scorpio.
Yeah. So like we don't know if that actually is influenced by their sign, but it's hard not to see these like well-known figures follow this transformation trajectory that we've been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talk about these just so you guys can see and like relate.
Yeah, exactly.
As you know this character, or maybe get to know these characters. So.
Yeah, and so they're like they shed these old identities to evolve into something new, and Scorpio is perfect at doing that. So.
So actors and actresses.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
Yeah, they basically have to put on a new skin every day, it feels like. It must be exhausting.
It would be. It
Or
would
not
be to
knowing who
me.
they are. I can see why,
Yeah.
like, all these child actors have such a hard time.
That would be a struggle.
Yeah. What's interesting about all of these examples is that it's not necessarily like a hero story or a villain story, right?
Yeah.
It's about change and about how what happens when grief or loss, betrayal becomes more, more than the versions of that themselves. Like
Yeah.
it expands that. And the ancient Greeks told the story of the scorpion and the hunter. We tell stories about witches and queens and dragons and ice powers, But the stories might be different in the way they look, but it's not that they're different, really. We are endlessly fascinated by characters who lose everything, confront the darkest parts of themselves, and emerge transformed. That's Scorpio behavior.
That's totally Scorpio behavior.
Yeah.
So good. I mean, yeah, that's why I think you and I in particular have a hard time understanding why Scorpios get a bad rep. I mean,
so for a long time, because I didn't understand them,
yeah,
I was missing it. I was like, I don't get it. They're definitely misunderstood to me. And once I had my son, I was like, okay, well, I got to learn now because I'm going to have to live
you
with
have
one.
to raise one.
Right. And the more I dug into it, it made me realize how, as Gemini, I get misunderstood for similar reasons of being able to decipher information differently than other people can.
Yeah.
And that is mysterious or frightening, depending on how people view it,
Right, depending on the other person.
And I think that's why I find astrology so interesting, because we all have these different ways of doing things, but it's not because one is right or wrong. It's just the more you understand it, the easier it becomes to understand your fellow man, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's relational.
Mhm.
And so again, for you and I, it's like, oh, the more information I can
The
have
better.
about a person, the better.
Yeah. Mhm. Our final sign is Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, which I think actually is very informing to who they are as the sign themselves. So Pisces season falls between February 19th and March 20th, and they are mutable water, which means that they represent adaptation, transformation, transition, and transformation. So if Cancer begins the emotional journey and Scorpio takes it into the depths, Pisces is where the boundaries start to dissolve.
Again, mutable signs are the change makers of the zodiac. So they mark the end of a season and prepare us for what comes next.
Mhm.
They're associated with flexibility, evolution, and movement between states. And no sign embodies that more than Pisces.
Definitely. I mean, if you think of it as like the ending and that you're transitioning to a different plane, if you will, it's hard not to see them as this, like the boundaries there, but it's very floaty. Like you kind of disappears in a way without totally going away.
It's very water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It kind of goes back to like after being fixed from Scorpio to like back to free flowing a little bit.
Yeah, I would say.
Very liminal. Traditionally ruled by Jupiter, and in modern astrology by Neptune, Pisces governs dreams, spirituality, imagination, intuition, compassion, creativity, transcendence, escapism, and the unconscious mind. So again, another plane. Like we're going to the next level. We're going to the enlightenment level. So modern astrology describes Pisces as dreamy, emotional, artistic, and detached from reality. And while those traits aren't wrong, they're only scratching the surface, just like all these other, I think that's the theme. We're just definitely seeing a theme here of like, we only get told the beginning of the story,
Yeah, when there's so much more.
Yeah. The theme for Pisces isn't emotional, it's disillusion. Pisces asks what happens when the boundaries get blurred between self and other, or reality and imagination, human and divine, waking and dreaming, physical and spiritual. So
that's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's also, those are Not just a lot, those are big things.
That's why people get like Pisces are like up in the clouds, but it's because there's a lot going on in there.
Yeah. I mean, I think like it can come off as like they're in their own little world.
But they're processing a lot of things. It's a lot. Throughout mythology, water often represents the unknown. Oceans hide what cannot be seen, rivers separate worlds, seas connect distant lands while simultaneously isolating them. Unlike Cancer's shoreline or Scorpio's depths, Pisces represents becoming part of the water itself. It is the point where individual identity merges with something bigger.
So again, the symbol of Pisces is the
two
fishies.
Yes. It's like a yin-yang fish
but
situation.
Fishies,
yeah. We'll put a picture here. We'll have lots of pictures this episode, I think.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Lots of visuals. So this is why Pisces symbolism often gets associated with spirituality, mysticism, art, and imagination. Artists disappear into their work. Mystics seek union with the divine. Dreamers lose themselves in their stories.
Yeah, and they're lost in their own thoughts and their own heads.
Yeah, musicians and poets and visionaries describe moments where inspiration feels less like creating and more like channeling something from, the beyond. And that's so deeply Piscean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the traditional ruler, Jupiter, connects Pisces with wisdom, faith, and the search for meaning. Meanwhile, Neptune adds themes of illusion, dreams, intuition, and transcendence. So together, these influences create a sign concerned with questions much larger than themselves, like what connects us? What exists beyond what we can see? Where do dreams come from?
They're big picture questions.
Big picture questions. And what happens if we let go of control? I don't like it.
That sounds horrible.
Nope.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah. So if Cancer is home and Scorpio is transformation, then Pisces is surrender.
Oof.
I hate it. It's the last chapter of the Zodiac journey, the place where the individual stories meets something infinite. And that's why Pisces mythology is often filled with oceans, dreams, gods, monsters, magic, and mystery. It's the sign most interested in what exists beyond the edges of the known world.
So Pisces originates from one of the great monster myths of Greek mythology. The story begins with Typhon, a terrifying creature often described as the father of monsters. Typhon was so powerful that even the gods feared him. Depending on the source, he had 100 dragon heads, fire in his eyes, and a voice that could sound like every creature on Earth.
Hate it.
That's terrifying.
Yep.
Yeah. In many versions of the myth, Typhon launches an attack on Olympus, sending the gods scrambling to escape. And that's where Pisces enters the story. To avoid being captured, Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty, and her son Eros, the god of desire, leap into a river and transform into fish.
In some versions of the story, they become the fish themselves. In other versions, two fish arrive to rescue them. But the most famous version says they tie themselves together with a cord so that they don't get separated in the chaos. That image becomes the constellation of Pisces, two fish connected to one another while swimming in different directions. And it does a lot of work with the symbology of Pisces as a whole. Right away, we see themes that later become central to Pisces: duality, connection, devotion, escape, and surrender, and survival through adaptation. Unlike many constellation myths, Pisces isn't about defeating a monster. There's no heroic battle, no glorious victory, no slaying the beast. The lesson is survival. I think that's the common theme with all of these. We have all of these smaller creatures that are adapting to survive.
And in different ways, but they're just doing what they got to do.
Yeah, exactly. Aphrodite and Eros don't overcome Typhon through strength. They adapt and they transform. They become something else in order to survive. And that's a very different kind of mythology. Many Greek heroes solve their problems through force. Pisces solves problems through flexibility, by going with the current rather than fighting against it.
The image of the two fish swimming in opposite directions is also fascinating because it captures one of the most enduring Pisces symbols, living between worlds. One fish seems to pull towards reality, the other pulls towards imagination. One toward the physical world and the other toward the spiritual. One toward individuality, the other toward union and connection. That tension shows up repeatedly in Pisces symbolism.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they pull at each other.
Yeah.
So it's a give and take.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
This sign is often associated with dreamers, artists, mystics, and visionaries because it occupies a space between what is and what could be, what's visible and invisible, what's known and what isn't known. And there's a reason why that this myth feels so Piscean. At its heart, it's the story about staying connected during chaos. The fish were tied together because separation was the greatest danger. Even as they were swept into uncertainty, they remained linked.
And that's a beautiful metaphor for a sign associated with compassion, empathy, and emotional connection.
Mm-hmm.
While Cancer asks, "Who do I protect?" and Scorpio asks, "What must I transform?" Pisces asks, "What connects us, even when everything else is changing?"
Yeah.
And perhaps that's why this constellation has endured for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah, beneath the fish, the river, and the monster is a deeply human story. When the earth becomes overwhelming, we survive not by standing alone, but remaining connected to something larger than ourselves. Yes, so while Pisces constellation story gives us two fish escaping a monster, the broader mythology of fish and the sea stretches beyond Greece. Across cultures, fish are often associated with wisdom, spirituality, rebirth, abundance, and divine mystery. Part of the symbolism comes from where the fish live. Unlike birds that soar through the sky or animals that walk on land, fish inhabit a world that humans can observe but never can fully access. For most of human history, the depths of lakes, rivers, and oceans were largely unknowable. People could sail across the sea, they could fish from it, but they couldn't see what lay beneath the surface. And humans have always filled the unseen spaces with stories.
Yeah, exactly like what we saw at the Black Forest.
It became the home of gods, monsters, spirits, lost kingdoms, and sacred knowledge. It wasn't just a place, it became a symbol for anything beyond what they could normally understand. Similar to the sky.
Yeah.
So many creation myths become centered around the water to start with.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. In Mesopotamian mythology, life emerges from the primordial waters of Apsu and Tiamat. In Egyptian mythology, creation rises from the endless watery chaos known as Nun. In Hindu mythology, the god Vishnu takes the form of Matsya, a giant fish associated with preservation, guidance, and survival. And in Celtic mythology, the salmon of knowledge becomes a symbol of wisdom, inspiration, and divine understanding.
Yeah, so notice a pattern here. The fish aren't usually warriors. They're teachers, guides, messengers, keepers of hidden knowledge, and they often know that something that the humans don't, right? They become powerful symbols of wisdom and spiritual insight. Water itself becomes symbolic of mystery. The deeper the water, the less we can see. And the less we can see, the more humans imagine. And that is why deep water mythology becomes associated with all these things that connect to Pisces.
Cancer mythology focuses on belonging. Scorpio mythology focuses on transformation. And Pisces mythology focuses on transcendence.
Yeah, so that's why they get associated with all of these visionary type people, right?
I mean, it makes sense that they would be artsy.
Yeah, they're not they're not Scorpio where they're drawing a clear boundary, or Cancer for that matter. They're letting it go back and forth a little. Yeah. They want to know what lies beyond the boundary just as much as keeping it. Yeah, just enough.
It's like they get tugged back, right? I don't know. That's the
again,
the
double fish. I want to go see, but I also want to stay, you know?
And that may be why fish and water remain such enduring spiritual symbols across cultures. They remind us that there will always be mysteries beneath the surface, both in the world and within ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. So, Cancer stories are about belonging, Scorpio stories are about transformation. Pisces stories are about transcendence. Pisces coded characters often feel like they have one foot in one world and one foot somewhere else. They're dreamers, artists, visionaries, idealists, people who imagine possibilities other people can't even see. That's why Pisces archetype frequently appears in stories centered around these fantasy, imagination, type thing.
The dreamers.
Escaping reality, right?
Yeah.
Luna Lovegood to me is very Pisces energy.
I think she's Pisces
Yes.
for sure, yeah.
She sees the world totally different than everybody else around her.
Yeah.
And
she's always in her own head.
While others dismiss her ideas, she's often remarkably intuitive and compassionate and open-minded, right?
Yeah.
So when everyone else kind of pushes Harry away, she lets him in, right?
Yeah, or it's like she senses that he needed
somebody
somebody to understand, yeah.
She embodies a deeply Piscean trait, the belief that reality is bigger than most people are willing to accept.
And she lives her life accordingly.
Yes.
And you see that. I mean, she knows the big prophecy, right? About the
Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, she grew up knowing about the Deathly Hallows and was like very aware of that situation. Yeah. It's just like,
yeah. Yeah, like she knew about like the Thestrals and like all these things that which there's a reason she did, but I think she uncovers information for Harry that Harry doesn't know. So because
he might necessarily think to
look into it. Yeah, to look for it. Yeah.
I like Luna.
Me too. I love her. So when I was trying to think of a Pisces man, Michael Scott came to mind.
Yeah, The Office.
Yeah. So hear me out.
Yeah.
Michael is often sees the world in the way he wishes to see it, rather than how it actually is.
Yeah.
He wants every workplace to feel like a family, every conflict to end happily, and every story to have an emotional, meaningful resolution. It's chaotic, unrealistic, and also surprising, and also very Piscean. Yeah. They live through hope and imagination and possibility, and that's just seems like him to me.
It is. Yeah, it is. What's interesting to me is I love Luna. Yeah. Really don't like Michael Scott. Hot take. He drives me crazy. Yeah. I think it's just my brain. I can't.
think it's the chaoticness of it.
I really can't.
Because as much as Luna is chaotic, it's more that she's odd.
Yeah.
Not so much that she's a chaotic
child. So I think that
maybe
in my brain, I'm just like, oh, that's okay. You're a kid.
You're okay to still be in this dream world. But so that's, I think, part of the problem with people not understanding Pisces as adults, because most of us lose that imagination as we grow up.
It's true.
It's a little bit Peter Pan vibes.
Oh.
But no, when I think of adult Pisces is somebody who can live in this dream world that a lot of us can't. And because and
there's a reason for that, right? That's why they're so creative.
Right. And I think that that's something because it's if you think of the cycle of the Zodiac right there at the end, right? So they've experienced all the things, so they don't have to be bogged down in the weight of some of these other signs.
Or is it?
That, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Or is it that it's escapism?
Oh, definitely.
That's what it gives to me.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think I could also be judging unfairly because my brain has a hard time with a Pisces brain.
It's your opposite.
Yeah. Oh, imagine that.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
They
it hurts me.
They think a lot, but differently than you.
Yeah.
Just like you think a lot, but differently. You're more analytical structure. They're the complete opposite of that. So for that particular opposite is very different.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones are more similar on paper, but
and that's literally like you say Michael Scott, and I'm like, yeah, and that's why I hate him, and everybody gives me crap for that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can't.
No, I get it.
I can't with how he goes about his day-to-day life.
No, I know. I mean, he's funny. That's why it's just funny.
I can't even find him funny.
Oh,
it hurts me so much.
Yeah.
I wish.
See, I think the Gemini in me is I like the chaos. Chaos is fun to watch. I don't want to be in it. The Capricorn moon in me says, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't actually want to live there.
Right.
It looks fun, but I don't want to do that.
Doesn't even look fun to
Yeah.
me. It does not. I literally am like,
You don't, yeah,
mm-mm.
no. So back to Taylor.
Oh,
Who
okay.
do
Let's
we,
see.
yeah, Taylor's,
Pisces to me gave, this was a little trickier,
yeah.
but I am going to say speak now.
Okay.
Yeah. So her, like,
Makes sense.
there are lots of call outs in this one where she had
Yes.
finally sort of chosen to,
Speak now.
she wasn't
Yeah.
hiding so much of who she was talking about
Yes.
in this one.
Right. True. Yeah. It's, I think a lot of the time it might be placed in like an air sign because of the speak aspect of it.
Yeah.
But because she's
But it's very, but it's
letting
also
go,
very emotional.
right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
emotion. It's a lot of moving past the surface, if you
Yeah.
will. And it's imaginative. It's very creative. It's a very creative album.
Yeah, she creates worlds essentially for each
Yeah.
of these songs.
Right.
And, I mean, the music videos alone for this
Yeah.
album
Yeah.
give Pisces
Definitely.
to me. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I did there.
Yeah. So famous Pisces. These I always find to be so interesting because it's not always who you think. Like Pisces are very mysterious in that way. Like they don't come off. They have a vibe. They don't have a look necessarily
Yeah.
where you would
Yeah,
be like,
yeah.
oh, that's a Pisces person. You know,
Well,
like
whereas you could look at like a Libra,
you kind of know
usually,
it's a Libra.
and know
Yeah.
they're a Libra.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are a lot of famous Pisces because of this imaginative, creative
Their nature.
nature,
Yeah.
right? So Rihanna is a Pisces.
Hmm.
Drew Barrymore.
Oh.
Yeah. Justin Bieber.
Ugh.
Daniel Craig. Camila Cabello.
Okay.
Bryan Cranston. Lupita Nyong'o. Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah, actually, that's why I love her. She's so cute. Olivia Rodrigo and Kurt Cobain. So definitely very.
That's an interesting bunch of people.
Yeah, it is, and that's kind of what I was going after in the beginning. I guess it's a strange collection, but at the same time they kind of go like.
But in my head, if you were to put all those people in a room together,
never would have known how they were related. Like if you said these
yeah.
people are all related somehow, how?
Like here's your Pisces club, have fun. They'd be like,
it's an odd club for sure. It really is. But that's when you start to see these other pieces of the chart come into play. Like Rihanna, for example, is an Aries moon.
Oh, all that I see.
But she would be very different than somebody who maybe had like a water moon and a Pisces sun.
Totally.
You know, Cancer asks us to build a home. Scorpio asks us to transform. And Pisces asks us to dream. And humans have been dreaming for as long as we've been telling stories. And I think that shows why it's so important to still talk about these stories, right?
Yeah.
It's not, astrology is not just personality, right?
No, it's such a fun way to explain how a person goes about their day-to-day life.
Yeah. So the Zodiac, it clearly originally served a different purpose, right? The constellations weren't designed to tell people who they were, right? They were designed to help people understand the world around them and therefore being able to explain the people around them.
Yeah.
Ancient humans looked up at the sky and saw stories about loyalty, arrogance, sacrifice, monsters, survival, transformation, and mystery. The constellations became a way to preserve cultural value, explain natural forces, pass down warnings, and make sense of experiences that felt bigger than one person themselves.
Yeah, I mean it's a fun way to another way to portray mythology, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just, talked down, written in history books. It was literally seen in the sky.
Yeah.
It's sort of commemorated in that way.
Yeah.
With these stars.
Yeah. And humans still need those stories to help navigate uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
The names have changed, the languages maybe, but the questions haven't. We still say, why is this person acting differently, or why do we still why do we still suffer? Why do we lose people we love? How do we survive grief? Who are we becoming? Right?
Yeah.
And
transformation is hard.
Yeah. So whether you're approaching it through our lens of mythology or spirituality, psychology, astrology,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the ologies. The appeal often comes from the same place. We're looking for patterns, stories, uh, trying to understand ourselves.
Anything to help it feel more like a relationship,
Yeah.
like it can be understood.
Yeah. So modern people, we use different tools to explain that, like TikTok, right? But it's still the same idea, right?
Yeah.
We're still trying to not predict the future, but make meaning out of chaos.
And humans have been doing that for as long as we've been looking up at the stars.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the biggest things we lose when we reduce zodiac signs to personality traits is the mythology itself.
Yeah.
Cancer becomes sensitive, Scorpio becomes intense, and Pisces just becomes dreamy. But the original stories were never that simple.
No.
Water sign mythology understood something modern culture is often uncomfortable with. Transformation is rarely clean.
Yep.
These signs weren't originally symbols of emotion, they were symbols of survival. Survival through protection, destruction, and surrender. And all three were tied to water because ancient people understood water as both life giving and dangerous.
It's a respect thing.
Yeah.
You just respect what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't conquer water, you learn to move through it.
Yeah.
That's why water sign mythologies are filled with thresholds, shape-shifting, moons, monsters, death, rebirth, and people crossing into boundaries and returning changed.
Yeah. Think Moana.
Yeah, exactly.
Water sign mythology reminds us that power doesn't always look like conquest. Sometimes power looks like surviving the impossible and still remaining capable
Mm.
of love, still remaining capable of trust, still remaining capable of imagination, and still remaining capable of transformation.
Mm.
That's water sign behavior.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the common theme here is like there's so much more to these signs here than meets the eye, and
Yeah.
water signs in particular is uh
They're deep,
they're
guys.
deep. Yeah, they're so deep. No, they reach things that most people don't feel comfortable doing, and it requires uh this like these certain traits that we talked about to be able to go there, you know?
Yeah.
And probably why they come off as this mysterious thing because a lot of these other signs don't uh behave that way. Like they don't dive
Yeah.
down like that.
I mean, you have to literally think of them as if they're a body of water.
Right.
So what you see when you maybe have one conversation with them is just the surface.
Right.
There's so much more to these
Yeah,
people.
definitely.
And how they approach things.
Mm-hmm. For sure. All right. Well,
Yeah.
that's all. That's our three for today anyway.
Our water signs.
We will definitely continue this series as we move forward. We are in Cancer season right now, so that's
this
why we
felt
started.
appropriate,
Yeah. But I think once we move into the next element, maybe we'll continue.
Yeah. We'll see.
So, yeah, that's it. Till next week. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please follow Goddess Behavior and leave a review. It helps other legendary mortals find us.
Questions are always welcome. No oracle required.
Stay bold.
Stay curious.
That's Goddess Behavior.